Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning.
We're ready to take it away.
Take it away, you two.
Yeah.
I have coffee and
All set.
all set for today. Happy Monday.
North Carolina this morning.
This one is for Paris. My soon-to-be son-in-law spent a couple of years living out there and loves all things Parisian. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not Paris, Texas.
Yeah, I've been to Paris, Texas a couple times.
Where the Eiffel Tower lives.
Right. Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, and just to for all of you out there in listener land that are listening through our Facebook channels. We're just trying to figure something out because it's like we got everything pushed and it all looked at the right time, and then we went into the broadcast just before we started, and it was like red light, red light, red light, red light, red light. It's all wrong. And we're like, we didn't touch it.
Yeah, something strange.
So I wanted to blame it on Jim the first couple of times. It's like, honey, stop touching things.
It's your device. That whole Android, iPhone, MacBook.
Well, it's a Mac. It's not a Mac. And
but turns out it wasn't a PC problem. So anyway, we don't know what the problem is.
I'll figure out somehow to do like it'll still be something that has to do with Apple.
Good morning, Vicki.
And Android.
And we got a good morning from Memphis. That could be our friend David Norton.
Yeah.
There are other people in Memphis, of course, but we're going to naturally presume that's our friend David. It's his Facebook user.
Yeah. Hope you all had a great weekend. I had the opportunity to go up and spend some time with my older brother in Twin Falls.
Yeah. I
don't think we have any listeners yet in Twin Falls. So, if you know anyone that lives out there.
We should have gone out and recruited people on the
We
street,
should have. And it's sometimes we just like, opportunity lost. And we do that frequently when we're traveling around. So David, when you go in, you have to scroll down to the bottom of all of the comments and click on it's okay for us to show your name. It's a thing.
Okay. We'll tell everybody who you are.
Yeah.
Good morning, GR Moore in Texas. He's in South Texas. So good to have you here. So we appreciate folks tuning in. We've got a heck of a subject today, and we kind of pivoted at the last minute for lots of reasons, but we this is such an important thing to talk about. And I originally threw a title out there that I realized, I can't say that. That's going to sound like I'm suggesting
we're telling everybody. We did that for our FAIDA address. Yeah. I gave them a title that it was like, it sounds like we want them to get out of business.
Yeah.
And so we did it again, and I'm like, okay, no, we just need to make sure that we're not communicating that to all the people in the business. We need a better wordsmith for
or we got
for titles.
I can't do this before coffee. I think that's the problem this morning.
It was pre-coffee.
Yeah. See, I can't respond.
I don't know about all of you out there, but it really does take us both about 2 cups before we can have like a coherent conversation about things. And Jim typically when because I'll wake up and I'm super excited for the day and I'll be like blah 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 about work, and he's like, don't even. Okay.
No, slow down. I'm not ready for all that. So
and I'm like, okay, because we have those of you who know us well know that coffee time in the morning is kind of sacred.
Yeah, it's a ritual.
In a way, it's a ritual, and we usually take about an hour in the morning after waking up, and typically no electronic devices. It's just the two of us. When we were in Florida, we would enjoy the sunrise. It's kind of harder to do that here, but we enjoy the room getting lighter. And just kind of talk and and just get to connect for a few minutes without any distractions.
To business. I know we're just quick announcement. We're headed tomorrow for the FIADA conference in Orlando. Looking forward to seeing a lot of our friends there.
Those of you who are going to be looking for us, we'll be rolling into Orlando Wednesday afternoon.
And then we'll be broadcasting live on Thursday. So those of you who wish to tune into that session, that'll be around the subject of how to sell something that's far more valuable than a used car. So we're going talk about how you can connect with more customers and win more customers, create more buy here, pay here sales by learning to present and pitch something besides a used car with some miles. So that'll be Thursday afternoon. And then, today I want to tackle this subject. We've been really working a lot on this March event. And so because that's been so prominent on my mind, I wanted to bring this topic. And GR, I'm glad you're here this morning. If you're able to stay tuned in, I would welcome your feedback on this topic because, as an established dealer, you've seen this, and maybe what we're going to talk about here doesn't apply to your particular operation, but what we see, and I've grabbed the link, I'll share it in all the places where this broadcast goes out. So as people find it later, they can know what I'm referring to. But back in early last year in 22, we recorded a 3-part series with Ken Shilson, Brent Carmichael, and Mark Burkholder joined for the last one. And we talked about this subject. The subject for the 3-part series was why no blue sky in buy here, pay here. So you could find it before I share the link. You could look up why no blue sky, and probably find that on YouTube, among other places. But bottom line is it's been a subject for me. Like I've just noticed that dealers, when they exit the business, they tend to end up in a liquidation scenario. And people will listen to this and say, yeah, but Jim, I don't need to hear about exit because I'm not thinking about exit. I'm just trying to build my business right now.
Yeah. Right? Which kind of, one of the things that we were batting around, and I do you mind if I please. Not really squirrel because we're in the same subject line. Those of you who know me, I do squirrels. Squirrel is that one of the things that we're going to be starting to do a segment, and we batted around names last night quite a bit, which is dealer files. And it's talking about just stories. We're going to leave names out unless less dealers, want to be part of the conversation, but just some of the scenarios that we have seen and what we have suggested for helping or fixing or like all of the things and typically one of the things that we see when someone calls us, says, hey, I need your help, it's quite frequently because there is something that is like wrong, or it's off, or there's like there's a fear of some kind or whatever, so it's like, we need your help to be able to do the thing. And sometimes it can be just something as little as, I want to grow, I don't know how to do it, and I don't want to make mistakes. And this one that we're talking about today is kind of like under a little bit, the topic is a little bit under that dealer files kind of thing, but
well, we're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about a dealer, like those stories right now, but it's like, it's one of the stories that we have seen multiple times already. And it's like this thing about, getting out, or what happens if I'm not there, is something that a lot of dealers, like, what it actually, it goes very nicely into what we're doing in March. And you did that video that was about like, could your business run without you there, and then could your business grow without you there? And that's like something that a lot of people are there's a lot of dealers that we've talked to it's a current like struggle, or something that's on the back of their mind. And it's it's something that really dealers from 1 month in to I'm ready to retire should be thinking about.
So let's
we strongly advise, because we don't ever say should.
Michelle's
strongly advise.
She's still adapting on the phrasing, but yeah, I would say that, and again, GR, I appreciate if you'd hang out in and just help me reach out to dealers. Any dealer that hears this, help me connect with other dealers to tell this story, because what we find when we travel out there is that we meet dealer after dealer that is really not in a position to deal with an unexpected exit. So let's talk about what, maybe it's not even that.
Well,
maybe it's just positioning.
It doesn't have to be an exit. It could be, I have to be out for a month.
Yeah. So that's one scenario, but I'm saying, let's talk about a real exit. Cause that's what I really, this topic that we're bringing in March, we've got lots of experts to come in here and help address this thing, because my frustration has been that I see dealership after dealership in an unexpected liquidation scenario. Death of a partner, investors getting out of the business, and now they're, don't have the money to continue. We could go on and on and on about scenarios that include health. It could be a heart attack, could be whatever it looks like. And people want to act like, well, that won't happen to us, we're well positioned. In reality, you have to think through. So what we challenge dealers to think about is, what does it look like if you lost some of your key people? Like somebody just,
what if something happened to them?
Yeah.
And they were like your office or your general manager, your sales manager, your collection. If you have got one person, your collection person is gone.
Yeah. So there's part of this that is almost done from a protective place. Like you would go in and position your business so that it could, so you could answer those questions. Could your business continue to produce without you being in the building? That's number one.
Okay, go ahead.
And then number two is, could your business grow without you being there? Well, I think we would all love to be in that position, but how many buy here, pay here dealers do you know? That's a very small percentage of buy here, pay here dealers that are really in that place. And so what that means to me from I put the thing in about tribal knowledge is what I chose. I replaced the title that I had originally about exiting and put in the title about, moving beyond tribal knowledge, because so many of us in this space, and it's not just true of buy here, pay here, but we're especially vulnerable in the buy here, pay here space because we have so many different components in our business. But we have this sort of tribal knowledge. So you could walk into a dealership tomorrow and you could say, how does the acquisition work? How do you guys buy and recondition your cars? And well, so-and-so does that. And you would find out that that so-and-so has all the knowledge of what they do right here. So ask yourself, what does it look like if that so-and-so walks out the door tomorrow or is in a car accident, can't work for 2 months?
Gets COVID and is out for, how many of the dealers out there dealt with that?
Yeah. So sometimes it could be short term like that, but I'm just saying, what makes your business sustainable? Gosh, a lot of dealers we talk to just have these headaches because they've lost somebody and they're going through this big transition, whatever, and they're having to train somebody new. And so it's like, when we see that pattern time and time again, it's like, I want to see dealers from a protective standpoint. First, in 2023, I would love to see dealers take measures. And by the way, Michelle and I can't help them all. We hope we can, if you need some help, we hope you can help you find a coach. But it's like, if you could start taking those measures now so that your business was less vulnerable to a personnel change. And I'm going to give you a tip. I want to just think about, this is something that occurred to me more recently. Michelle and I have been doing it. People think, well, I can't, Jim, writing a policy manual, if I were to go in there and write all the stuff that we do in terms of how we purchase cars and how we just pick inventory. We're going to, how we acquire and how we recondition cars. If I were to write all that, it would take me forever. I'm not a good writer. That's tedious stuff.
We hear it all
the time. But I'm just going to tell you, here's my tip. Don't think about writing it. Think about recording it. Grab yourself an Otter app, download that Otter app. It costs almost nothing. Some versions are free. And you start recording. You put it on a calendar, go to your Google Calendar and say, every Monday at 3:00, I'm going to sit down for an hour and I'm going to record.
Or every time I put, the next time you're putting inventory into your DMS, it's like, hit record, and do a screen share. There's a lot of different softwares out there that are free up to so many hours a month. So you can record, 2 hours a month for free on this. Download the recording, put it into whatever files you want to. But sometimes it's just a matter of turn on a recorder and speak while you're doing the thing, and do a screen share. One of the best pieces of advice that Jim and I ever got, and I know we've talked about this before, but it is a good time to reiterate it. Our business coach, our coach to do that has been with us through the last, and what we learned from her has been with us the last 2 years so strongly, is better done than perfect. And we were chatting with Amanda Sanchez, and she's working on putting some of these things together. She's like, it's so hard because I want it to be. It's like, don't. Better done than perfect. It's better to put your first draft, as long as all the points are covered, and get it into a file. And then if you get an opportunity later on down the line to re-record or have someone do an edit, whatever it is, then do that. Yeah. But it's better done than perfect. And it's really, it's like also this whole idea of like, I'm going to have the thing and these are all the stuff and the recordings for it. It's like the elephant. How do you eat an elephant? It's just break it down to little things and just start doing it. And with a lot of these softwares too, you don't have to show your face if you don't want to. It's just your voice. And you go along and you do some of the things. One of our clients, we got started on teaching them how to do this, and they sent me a file of where we're at, and I was like, man, you're better done than perfect. Is like, there was music in the background, and it was pretty slick. It was pretty slick. It doesn't have to be that slick. I think better done than perfect.
So what we're talking about back to the Otter, you can go to otter.ai. You can download an app. We use it. We have hours and hours on Otter.
That's more transcribing, not
but it's
like
both. You have audio. You're not getting a screen. So she's talking about screen sharing. Mm-hmm. I was talking about just record your stuff, because you don't want to write and type. So Otter does transcription. As you talk, it transcribes what you're saying, and it's surprisingly accurate. And so you start to document the stuff. Mm-hmm. And now your ability to be away on a 2-week vacation and have people have the material, they can refer to the stuff, they can find the answers. All that transcription is searchable. If they need to go in there and find out, how to do transmission, who do we order transmission, whatever. It's like, it's all there. So this is an important thing in terms of, and again, this March 30th event, we're going to spend the entire day talking about how to help dealers move past, having their business operate on tribal knowledge. So everybody understands what I mean by tribal knowledge. Is like that idea that we all, as a tribe, we have this stuff, but it's up here. And
does no one
we're
any
vulnerable
good
when the stuff is between our ears. And again, we can go through all the reasons that we have vulnerability and we have headaches in our business because we carry around too much stuff up here. So when we start to transcribe that stuff, make it where we create systems and we document those systems, then now our business, one is we've taken protective measures. We're more sustainable. I can make the case that your business is now more valuable too, which is really the big thing.
That's what I was like, okay, it's one thing to be able to save yourself a headache. And that in itself is enough value to be able to put the things down and like, so it's there. Like if your collection person or your collection manager was gone, all the cool things that they figured out how to do and that it's part of their routine, it's all documented. It's all right there. It does make your business more valuable, whether or not you're in it a year or you're in it for 30.
And don't just take it from me. Take it from Brent Carmichael at NCM, Ken Shilson. If you look at that second episode that we did in there with Ken and Brent, I asked at the end of this, because I said, well, we don't see anything but really liquidation scenarios in buy here, pay here. People want to get out. They kind of just sell the paper,
unless they want to give it to a partner or
but even then, what's the value?
Yeah.
It's like, what are they conveying? Like if you're going to sell your business to your son-in-law, what's the number? What's it worth to the son-in-law? And so what can they justify paying? Well, it depends on how conveyable it is the word I've been using lately. It's like, how easy is it for me to hand it off? And I wrote an article 2 years ago and referred to the owner's manual, this owner's manual. And buy here, pay here. If you're creating this owner's manual that somebody could come to your business, open the glove box, read the stuff, and understand, okay, if I were to buy your business or acquire your business, I could otherwise expect the same results if I just followed these steps. So that's what we're really trying to help dealers create. We know it's possible. We know it's hard work, but it doesn't have to be done overnight. You start taking the steps that I'm talking about, you start chipping away, and you can look up by the end of 2023 and have a business that you can feel much more comfortable. Your spouse or business partner, your investor can feel much more comfortable because now you've got a business that is much more sustainable, much less vulnerable to all the things that we talk about. And so, we're not ones to use scare tactics, but if we need to scare folks a little bit into creating more value in their business, I'm not above doing it. Like, we got to get people to understand it's important that we make time to do this stuff. It doesn't have to be a huge undertaking. Start taking bite-sized pieces on this thing, and you can. So in that session, I asked Ken Shilson
on the podcast on the
Blue
Sky Value.
The Blue Sky thing. I said, why no blue sky? And I asked them, well, if we had this, this, and this, and I went through a list, wouldn't our business in Buy Here, Pay Here be more valuable? And both Ken and Brent said, yes. Okay, so there's a way to get there. There's a way to create more value. They're going to talk about things like financials, obviously having good updated financials. So in some cases, you might want audited financials, and that's expensive, but maybe some of your large enough operation, you could justify that. But the point is, we're positioned so that we don't have that key man syndrome. What's it look like if we're out of the business for whatever reason? Heart attack, we're out of the business. Partner is out of the business unexpectedly. General manager, longtime general manager, they're gone for whatever reason. What does that do to our business? And why are we allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in that way? So this is, Michelle and I are taking similar steps in our own business to make sure that we position ourselves to make sure that whatever we create can be sustainable and still produce, after we're gone. And so that's, we're asking you to do the same thing in the interest of the health of your business. And by the way, maybe it's 20 years before you're gone, but all these steps we're talking about will help you create more value, hopefully more profit, more cash flow, certainly efficiencies in your business through these things. And certainly when you have turnover, your ability to plug somebody in and get them up to speed more quickly is going to be greater. So all of these things are benefits that you can see from doing this. So this is why we say it's important. Our friend Mark Burkholder says there's 3 ways you're going to get out of the Buy Here, Pay Here business, right? And so,
all of you that listen to us frequently can probably bing, bing, bing.
And we have some ideas, at least operationally, we have some ideas of what's going to help position somebody for succession, whether that's selling to an insider, whatever that looks like. And we're not trying to be experts on that. That's Mark and Peachtree Planning. So we would definitely recommend if you're in that.
We also have another person that's coming on for the thing in March that
they're a business valuation expert.
They're like professionals at business valuation.
Yeah, you're talking about certified value of your business. And so now that applies in our business too, but it's like with Mark's in the business, and Mark's expression we love. You're talking about that.
Hugo, I love you.
Yeah.
Mark's so negative, always talking about death. Can't we talk about fun stuff like taxes?
Yeah.
That's actually another piece to a lot of this is we've had conversations with Amanda, chart of accounts. I mean, it's like standardizing some of these things is another piece that will be helpful. So Hugo, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah. And one of the things that that those of you who have seen the video that Jim put out there, and I think that we're going to repost it, and it's kind of like a teaser for what it is that we're going to be talking about in March. But it's, this is not a buy here, pay here person talking. This is just like someone in business is talking about, can your business run without you? And will your business create value without you? And I ask, we talk all the time when we first got into here. It's like that and people in Buy Here, Pay Here are the dealers, and that it's like some of the bravest entrepreneurs and business owners. But one of the things that this video talks about is if you can't do those 2 things, what you have is an income.
You've created an income.
The end.
Yeah.
If you can't create a business that can continue running without you, and if you can't create a business that that can grow without you, you've created just a nice income.
And here's what I can tell you. If you're in that situation, you are not alone.
Absolutely
Most
not.
buy here, pay here dealers are in that position. So, we know that there's an opportunity to be able to create something more sustainable.
Absolutely.
And if you start chipping away now, you can look up and have a business that is more valuable. That's really what we're trying to do, is make sure that we help dealers create business that is valuable, because we want to have you have a business that is as marketable as possible. If something changes and you decide to get out of the business, or heaven forbid something happens to you and now the family owns the business, what does that look like for them? What are you leaving behind for them?
Yeah, we were talking to one of our really good dealer friends, and the story of one of their dealer friends in their 20 group passed away just suddenly. I mean, he was like our age, passed away suddenly. And the wife is like, she's now the business owner, and she's like, I don't know nothing. And so all of the dealer, which is another, having those kind of groups, it's another benefit of that, is that all the friends that they had known for a decade or more stepped in, and it's like, let's help you get these things done so that they can figure out what they're going to do with the business. But it just happens. It just happens. And how, like in that scenario, had the dealer and his wife, knowingly gone through, and it's like, here's how you do the things, and this is the stuff, and for your spouse, for your business partner, for whatever, it's like documented all the stuff, then it would be a different conversation for the wife to say, hey, I need help doing these things, not just like, I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea.
So again, it's just about installing things one by one that helps you make your business more conveyable. And I think one of the fun things we're going to do at this March event is going to be, we're going to go through and just ask, if you were buying my business, what would you be looking for? We put some stuff out there on Facebook, poll many months ago, and got some interesting feedback on that. But it's like, what's a business worth? What would you be looking at if you were buying my business? What would you be asking of me to make a judgment about how much you'd be willing to pay for my business? And so when you think through that list, what does that look like? If you're the buyer, think through that list. If you're the buyer or if you're the seller, and now what does it look like? What would you be willing to pay? Would you be willing to acquire, even if it was amortized over time? Because we're in the tote the note business after all. If I were to tote the note and finance to you my business, what would you be willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
And so that's
how much
monthly
down payments.
That's right. So you get the idea. Still we got to understand what's the real value. So because I don't want to see dealers have to liquidate their portfolios. Obviously, real estate is real estate. We're not trying to advise on real estate. Inventory is probably going to be inventory. But when it comes to this book of business, the value of your enterprise. What is the value of your brand and your enterprise? And what's the value of your portfolio for somebody to acquire that? What's that look like? So again, we're just trying to bring all the experts who can help answer those questions.
And so many dealers that we talk to, it's like they like assign a value to, like, it's worth so much more, all the blood, sweat, and tears, all the things. It's like, till these things are done, that's an emotional price tag you're putting on something. And until you have something that's tangible to say, this is now part of the price tag of what it is that we've built, that it's just an emotional. And we've heard stories, like some of the like one of the gentleman that we're going to be having on an end of March, who is he does this with corporations, and he does this with just other businesses. It's about evaluation and what are the steps to be able to create this value. He's had to, like, talk business owners off a ledge. It's like, here's why. This is the why your business is not worth $30 million. It's really only worth $5 million. Because of these things. But if you had all of these things, it would be worth $30 million or whatever.
There's plus or minuses on the ledger. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably wrap up. I want to make sure to mention on Wednesday, we're planning to take on this topic around this lawsuit that's been filed against CFPB, or by the CFPB against credit acceptance.
Some really interesting conversation on social media about this.
Yeah. So we're gonna bring that to the morning show. We're gonna invite some people to come contribute to the conversation on that. So yeah, it's just, what does that really mean to the typical buy here, pay here dealer, if anything? And so that'll be our Wednesday subject for White Hat Wednesday. So please tune in.
Yeah. And what else?
I don't think I have anything else.
Again, we're gonna be at FIADA. We're speaking on Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We will be broadcasting that live through BHPH Nation TV. Love the stinger. Yeah. Thank you very much, Anna Maria. And it's going to be kind of a continuation of this kind of topic. You're going to hear us. This is kind of like our drum that we're going to be beating this year. Is one of the things with dealers is like, how do you create value? How do you create a business that is sustainable? How do you do these things? And we do realize that that's a lot of white or a lot of straight line type of stuff, but there's going to be an awful lot of squiggly stuff in there that really will help too with creating connection with your community and your customers, and that has a value as well.
So thanks for tuning in, folks. We hope you're getting adjusted to the new time slot. We're managing ourselves, but so in the meantime, we do appreciate you tuning in. Hope you're finding value. Let us know what you'd like to hear us talk about.
All right. Have a great rest of your day. It's Monday. We will see you on Wednesday. Thanks so much, guys.